What's up, chat? Happy Friday. Holy cow, we've made it to Friday, Halloween weekend. I hope you guys had a solid night of NBA last night. Was good for me. I didn't bink nothing, but got back to the profitable side of the world. I was a little bit worried. Had a lot of Luka. But man, happy Friday, guys. I'm Gun, twitter.com/Gundacker. I have a bad habit of saying Gundacker Sports. And joined today by the Canadian Skip Bayless, Raj. I'll tell you what, Raj, you get a lot of slack for hot takes. I haven't heard any piping hot takes yet this season.
We've been doing well. Yesterday, another day where we cashed. The takes have been hot. The takes have been right. No craziness. I'm sticking to the usual. It's just everything's coming right these days.
Montrezl Harrell, 76% owned yesterday. 25% of people were like, nah.
They were dead.
I'll pay some rake today. What's up? Free Square was hey. Then if you maybe exercise a little bit of contrarianness, Joel Embiid actually was number 2 on the slate on DraftKings in raw fantasy point scoring, dropping 59 DKP. A little bit skittish about playing him. A little bit skittish about his minutes projection. He only got to 31 minutes, but that's all he needed to drop 30 real points, 18 rebounds. Massive game for him. And then Steph Curry ended up leading the slate in fantasy points by less than a full fantasy point because of overtime. So the caveat here, the elephant in the room is Luka Doncic, man. Luka Doncic without Kristaps Porzingis going against San Antonio Spurs. If you go back to the beginning of last year, anytime Porzingis hasn't been on the court, the usage and the points, the fantasy points per minute for Luka has been borderline astronomical. Well, the Mavs got off to a horrendous start. It was like 16-1 or something oddball. And then Kid turned the bench dogs loose, and Jalen Brunson and Maxi Kleber did their best to not only get the Mavs back in the game, but set them up for success. And the Mavs actually ended up winning that game, despite Luka Doncic having one of his worst, real games I can recall in a long time. 34 minutes for Luka. He was minus 19 on the plus minus in a game that they won by 5. Your champions there, Kleber, Jalen Brunson. So, shout out to Jalen Brunson because I had a whole lot of him, but oh man, thumbs down to Luka Doncic because he was the guy, man. I was hanging my hat on him through a lot. Maybe that was the basic thing to do. Maybe if I had, I went 90% 20 lineups. That's usually a little bit aggressive even for my liking. Usually my core is about 50%. I did lock button Montrezl Harrell. But everything else was fine. So with Luka being my only mistake and a high owned mistake, I still turned in a pretty profitable night on both sites. Never really had a sweat in terms of any takedowns or anything like that. But it was profitable. And that's all you can ask for, really, to leave with more money that you enter with. So hopefully, chat, you guys maybe got a little bit more creative. I think Jalen Brunson is going to be a lot of people's favorite 6-man going forward. He's so good. He's electric to watch too. Anything that you took away from yesterday that you, as we get more and more, sample size on the season, 4, 5, 6 games, any underreactions, overreactions from the first 2 games that now we're starting to see stabilize, or anybody that you're starting to believe in that maybe we thought was a little bit flimsy? I would say the name that stands out to me is Dejounte Murray. I've always appreciated it and realized the talent was there, but we haven't really been able to enjoy him for 36 minutes in a game. And now we're starting to see that. And we're starting to see borderline superstar levels of usage and production. Yesterday, missing a triple-double by 2 assists. And, of course, you guys remember what he did against the Lakers game. Anybody standing out for you as, holy cow, this guy is a difference maker this year?
Well, one, John Moran's a top 10 player in the league. He's definitely absolutely killing it, tearing it up, 35 points a game, leading that team. And Jonas Valanciunas is finally seeing 35 minutes a game plus. That's something we've been waiting for a couple years in DFS. He's always been a guy that's limited in minutes. So J-Val, I think, is a top 5, top 3 DFS center to play this year for sure.
Yeah, I can get behind that take. Jakob Pertl's another guy I'm excited to see get some run. He's one of those, I don't know, Mason Plumlee types, even Montrezl Harrell types, where I've always known them to be a point per minute guy. When I really see them get leaned on for deeper minutes, he got 36 minutes again yesterday. Of course, he was looking really good in that Lakers game as well. So something to think about. As far as surprises from yesterday's slate, the only thing that I got wrong, and if I get it, and I will get this wrong just about every slate, Raj, Kentavious Caldwell Pope. 21 real points, 8 rebounds.
One of those games. One of those games.
Usually, if he goes off and he's the optimal value, I probably don't have it. I guess if you reverse engineer, you think about the absence of Spencer Dinwiddie. Yeah, maybe there's a world where you justify his shot volume going up a little bit. But generally speaking, yeah, I'm gonna miss out on KCP good nights more than I'm gonna be on him. But for the most part, like the only thing that really struck me down yesterday was Luka Doncic, and then I 70-30 Clayball to Dwight Powell. Initially, I thought Clayball would start alongside Powell, but when Boban was rolled out, we saw Clayball not in the starting lineup. We saw them lean on Reggie Bullock and stretch out DFS to the 4. So reading between the tea leaves, I assumed Clayball was going to be the backup center, which made me skeptical on Moses Brown being in the rotation. He wasn't. So I 70-30 between the two, thinking that I didn't want them overlapping because I initially projected them to start together. But I went on the wrong side of the 730. Maxi Clayball, the greatest play on the slate yesterday, 3,200 on DK, 29 minutes played. He had a double-double with points and rebounds, but what was most staggering, he had a steal and 6 blocks. I mean, that's 7 stocks. That's 21 Fanduel points to get you started. That alone would have kind of filled the need for his price point. And then you just add in, 22 points and rebounds to boot. It was a huge game out of him. Likely going to see some chasing going on here. But that was yesterday's slate in a nutshell, chat. We are live on YouTube. If you're out there lurking, make sure you drop that big old fat thumbs up. 70, the daily goal here. It's a big slate tonight. Show us some love. We will be fully interactive game by game here. But let's get caught up, man. How we doing? What up, Sean V? Shark Killis is Blackjack Mulligan. Stan Hansen. Boom. How you doing? Marvski, what's good? Dang Lazy Mofo. Mia Moore. My love over there. She's been doing her own nails. So it's a whole project, but it's cool. More creativity. Sean V says, new chalk donkey Luka would bust, so I faded. Sean V is just like the most he's the smartest. He's the smartest player I know. I mean, there's no other sharp guy sharper than Sean V himself. He's just oof. What up, Tall? Shark says Rod's looking like L DeBar's Drake's cousin. I don't get that one.
Hey, chat. Wait for that fresh fade coming in this weekend. You know what I mean? Still got the beard a little too long for my like. We're gonna get this trimmed up, get the fade coming, or we look like a new person come Monday.
Julian Wilson, what up, Julian? The Crazy says Mavs need to stop running Powell out there to die. Yeah, man, that first unit just was they had no gas to start the game.
One of those games.
But yeah, Brunson. Mongo says good call on Beal over Randall yesterday. Capella killed me in tears though. Draymond was the play. Yeah, Draymond doing his thing. Draymond's looking like big minute, big usage Draymond. And peak Draymond is a guy that can stuff the stat sheet. If he gets your points, that's just cherry on top. Like 12 rebounds, 7 assists out of him yesterday, and then he had 8 stocks of his own, blocks and steals there. So Draymond looking a whole lot more like Draymond from the big Warriors years. So that's something to watch for. And at mid 6K on FanDuel, he was just an auto play as a multi-position eligible guy. I definitely understand the skepticism and the trepidation at over 7K here. I would assume his price can only go up from here. We'll see. And then we might have to pump the brakes, put a little context, the fact that he got extra innings overtime. But yeah, Draymond's looking like he's filling that old void. So something to be excited for in the short term while Wiseman is out and waiting on Klay Thompson. What up, Ash Breezy? What up, Tone Loke? Raj, we don't care about your fade. We care about NBA. So
fade important to a real world, man. Fade is crucial. Real world success.
Halloween weekend. Do you guys do Halloween up there? I don't know. Like, I don't know
Hell
the.
yeah, Halloween parties. I mean, obviously a little old now, but yeah, Halloween parties always rocking. It's always you dress up, have a good time. The parties are booming. There's always some nice slutty nurses, slutty bunnies, out there. Good times.
Can't relate. I only have eyes for one female on this planet. You trying to get me
Hey,
killed? Hold up.
we
Hold up. Hold up.
we
Hold
live
up.
two different worlds. It's all good.
We definitely do.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I haven't done the
That is a
Halloween thing.
relationship, man. I feel you.
One. I can barely handle
I
one,
belong,
bro.
I
You
belong to the streets, Chad. I belong to the streets. What are you gonna do?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, today there are some news and notes floating to keep an eye on. I'll see if I can get us caught up here. Let's see if Underdog, yeah, they did drop a key news to watch. If you guys are on Twitter, Underdog_NBA fan does a good job of updating that. He was the brains behind the old Fantasy Labs NBA Twitter account, so he's kind of the guy we've been trusting in the last half decade. So check him out. LeBron James questionable, game time decision. Nikola Jokic questionable. We saw him go down in that Utah game. Did not come back. Bam Adebayo questionable. AD is probable. Kyle Lowry probable. Karis LeVert questionable. That's something to watch as Malcolm Brogdon is out. And Terry Rozier questionable. And then Norman Powell questionable. So, chat, if any of that drops while we're live or anything else drops, be sure to keep me honest in the chat. I am on bang number 2 in like 3 hours, Raj. You think that's healthy?
Definitely not. I'm a bit of a Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi guy too, so not the best place to ask. But it's a crazy.
So each can has 300 milligrams of caffeine. So I would theoretically be introducing 600 milligrams of caffeine to my body in like 3.5 hours. So if I have a heart attack on stream, all I'm asking for is 100 likes, right? I think that's worth it.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll hold down the stream. If gun goes down, I got us, Chad. I got us.
Halloween is in April in Canada. Is that a thing?
No, definitely not a thing.
Not a thing?
We're literally the same day as you guys.
See, I wouldn't know.
Literally right beside you.
Literally, you could tell me that, and I would have no idea if that's true or not. I'm like, oh, okay, I would believe that. Yeah. Oh, Halloween in April, cool. What's up, Crispy? What up, Al B? We definitely care about fades. Raj getting that H-Town fade, or is that like
you do a ball fade?
Go get that. Go get that Mark Davis chili bowl, bro.
Yeah, my barber still hasn't picked it up. I don't know if he's in action or something. Maybe he's in trouble with his wife, and I don't know what he has been picking up.
Yeah, I don't know. What's up, Dave Jones in the chat? Do you suggest playing Scotty Barnes, Van Vliet, not F? Where's that? Get the F out of there, like it's WWE. OG Anunoby, PG-13, Jalen Suggs, and Terrence Mann on DraftKings. 166 people single entry. I don't have any.
Talk about it. We're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, we're gonna go game by game here. I don't have any like pushback against those guys individually. I guess it does feel a little weird to have 3 guys from the same team on a medium to larger size slate, and maybe Terrence Mann gives you a little bit of a shaky floor here. But like theoretically, I don't have any individual pushback on any of those plays. In and of themselves, in a vacuum. But in 166 people enter, I guess you can get away with stacking a little bit more since the floor is a little bit more important than the obscure ceiling. But in an obscure ceiling standpoint, you probably wouldn't have to take the risk on somebody like Terrence Mann or Jalen Suggs. I would imagine their ownership comes pretty low. But don't quote me on that. We're gonna go game by game here. You know how we do. What up, Jack Phillips? Says I'm entering like a $5 lineup. Which kind on Fanduel should I do? Do you think? I am not sure what you mean there, brother. I am entering.
Are you talking about it's probably entering the 444 100K to first on FanDuel with 40,000 entries. So
Chad, if you're balling on a budget, right? You want to spend less than $20 or something like that. Don't be like Raj. It depends on what you're. I don't know if it's pure entertainment. Do you boo-boo? But if you're trying to see some dividends, some returns, no matter what the entry point is, I would definitely recommend, especially if I was only making one lineup, would recommend targeting like a single entry or a league. FanDuel has leagues that not a lot of people really know about, but it's 100 or less people. I think it's like top 12. You could start climbing that ladder of multiplying that money. It's astronomical odds to take down first, especially You're one little lineup against a lot of sharks with not even just 150, but guys out there with 20, 30, 40 lineups able to cover a little bit more bases. So I would recommend going after some single entries. And I do recommend smaller field single entries, meaning if you can get less than 5,000, less than 4,000, 3,000 people in.
Always throw that single entry in a big tournament. Always throw that in that $4 or $5 100K first. You don't want to be that guy that wins a single entry, and then if that's the same ladder that takes down 100K, you're just tilting for a couple of weeks.
Chronic in the chat. Don't believe it. Yo, I literally told Chronic yesterday. I said, hey man, let me know if you ever want to do a 3-man panel with me, you, and Raj.
Do it up.
And he said, this is literally what he said. For sure.
Hey.
And then today he act like he told me yeah, and he didn't. And then I still said, hey, I could bring you on. I could probably have everyone's cam on. I just don't have fancy lettering around Chronic's name. So I know Chronic offer's still out there if you want to get crazy with it. I don't think the people care much, right? You guys can forgive some
big Slate.
some bad graphics. It's whatever. We'll fix it. We'll fix it in post, as we say in the industry. But yeah, don't come at me like that. Don't come at me like that. Tyrell says you want up good people almost a takedown yesterday in tears, but didn't have Bill. Man, yeah, tears are very interesting. I like tiers conceptually just because you can have a more finite range of outcomes and you can almost anchor down each category to like 3 or less, 2 or less players. And then that would be where I would like to have 5, 6, 10 lineups, something like that. So I definitely like tiers. I haven't really been in the tier streets much. How the prize pools, are they decent? If they're decent, maybe I should be throwing some action at them. It is so hard to juggle, MMEing on Fanduel and DraftKings, dueling locks, waiting for last minute news. Yesterday, Fanduel had a CSV edit issue. It was chaos. So I don't want to overload my plate here, but I might stagger site to site, day by day. But tiers is definitely. I think there are contest types out there like that would give you a little bit more bang for your buck, and the contest types like late night showdowns, tiers, stuff that doesn't have as much mainstream DFS media coverage. Like maybe there's a little bit more of a wedge to get in there and be profitable, right? That's not what I said. What do you mean that's not what I said? You said you wasn't asked. I literally said, bro, Chronic, I'm not trying to leak our DMs because me and you we got a little magic going on in there, but that's a joke, chat. I don't Chronic's girl. I swear I said so. I DM'd Chronic yesterday. Let me know if you want a chaos 3-man stream with Raj sometime. For sure. That's it. For sure. So the offer was was you let me know anytime you want to jump on. Like just because Raj is here, don't mean you can't be here. You didn't let me know, so don't act like the burden's on me, bro. Don't be mad at me for not calling you. You didn't call me, brother. Mongo says I enter 30 or so lineups and optimize. There's only one contest that is playable. The 5K to first. That's what I was worried about. What's up, Quinn? Rich homie Quinn. Jesse, fade or play Bruce Brown chalk? Is Bruce Brown chalk? Typically, if you tell me Bruce Brown is chalk, I'm more on the fade side. I don't know the context of the word chalk there. It feels like we all have different definitions, right? I think last week right here on this very stream, we talked about, people were saying 20% was chalk. And for me, that's not something I tend to avoid or jump on. Bruce Brown's not a guy I enjoy playing anyway. But like yesterday was a great example, right? We saw a 70% own Montrezl Harrell. We saw 40+% ownership on like Luka, and high 30s on guys like Steph. Like for me, those are numbers that are a little bit more staggering, and they represent a lot more implied raw points to kind of zig and zag. If a chalk value play 20-25%, that's implied for 18 to 24 DKP, something like that. Like I don't really run to or away from that, but if those guys tend to get higher than that, I'll usually err on the side of going the other way, because I don't. But I mean, like yesterday, like KCP, right? If KCP was chalk, I would have not played him, and I would have burned me. So it's a two-headed sword, right? Ash Breezy Raj breaking up happy homes.
I mean, I'm too old to be doing that anymore, man. We don't really hook up with girls with boyfriends anymore. you know. But sometimes you don't know they have a boyfriend until after the next morning. So it's like, what are you supposed to do?
Your life is not. We are not the same. Okay, we are just not
I
the
mean,
same.
hey, I'm just saying. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes they need a break. I don't know. Something you don't know next time.
Stop it. Get some help. We do not condone or recommend.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not condoning. Yeah, obviously, ruin it happen. What if they're not in a happy relationship? Though? They feel like maybe they're trapped in a relationship that they don't really like, and I'm their outlet to get away from it. So really, I'm saving them from a lifetime of unhappiness and sadness.
Are you guys in an unhappy relationship with your current optimizer? Well, guess what? At RunDFS.com, we have created a partnership with Fantasy Cruncher. Check this out, guys.
That was smooth.
We've already discounted the prices this year on RunDFS.com versus the last 5 years. And notice the week pass, the 2 week pass, the month pass, a little bit lower than it used to be. Not only did I drop the price a little bit, and you're still getting the same stuff, the spreadsheet, the pre-lock voice sets, all that good stuff. But check this out. We've partnered with Fantasy Cruncher to be a good companion piece to their optimizer and vice versa, complement each other. And if you guys are looking to be someone who manages multiple lineups, heck, they have tiers coverage as well. You guys can get some credits, some vouchers applied towards a Fantasy Cruncher membership based on the membership you have at RunDFS.com. It's a new thing. We just launched it yesterday. So check it out. Month pass will get you $20 towards something, one of their passes, and then they stack, right? So if you're a multiple week pass user and you haven't tried Fantasy Cruncher yet, or you haven't tried an optimizer and you're just grinding one lineup for now, but in a month or so after being a loyal week pass user, you decide, all right, I want to try more than 5, more than 10 lineups. Well, they stack, so they can actually accumulate, and then eventually you might even get yourself a free trial of one of their stuff just based on some of your stacked RunDFS.com stuff. So I'm excited about adding more utility to the memberships at RunDFS.com. You guys should check that out. In the coming days, hopefully I can nerd it up a little bit more and make my projections a little bit easier to access on a downloadability. I don't know if that's a word, but we are growing, we're expanding. We made a new website, so check that out. It's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting. Anything else in chat before we get to the slate? Yeah, Raj is different. What's up, Mike? Love thyself. What's up, Jesse Noyes?
Live life to the fullest, guys. Live life to the fullest.
Not me. No, sir, Bob. Anyway, we've got 7 games tonight? Is that what I said? 6. Yep, 7 games. If you look at the slate, just a quick overview, a little context of what we might be dealing with price-wise. Luka Doncic leads the entire slate in salary for DK, $11K, $10.7K on Nikola Jokic. He's questionable. Kevin Durant, $10.3K. And then Paul George is $10K. Everybody else on the south side of $10K. And yeah, that's what we're dealing with in context of the slate. And we've got just one game at the 7 p.m. Eastern lock. So we'll be able to stagger through. And then from a player perspective, we'll be able to late swap accordingly as more news drops, as players do well or bad in our lineups. And we'll have some fun with some strategy on a Friday night. Let's jump into it, chat. Thumbs up. We noticed yesterday, the more thumbs up, the better the takes were. And we didn't have enough thumbs up during the Luka portion, but at the end, the Curry portion, we had our maximum thumbs up. So it is correlated. So just get them out the way. You're already going to love everything we do. Orlando Magic at the Toronto Raptors. Game number 1 tonight. Project starting 5 for the Magic. Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., and Mo Bamba. He's got Hose calling, so does Raj, up against the Toronto Raptors. Project starting 5, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, and Precious Achua. 206.5 total. 8-point spread in favor of the Toronto Raptors. Very low total. This is probably the lowest total I can recall off the top of my head on this seeing this season. Offensive rating for the Magic so far, 102 points per 100 possessions. Toronto Raptors, 105 points per 100 possessions. Neither team averaging 100 possessions per game, so the math checks out. Matchup-wise, on the Raptors side, Scotty Barnes, 6K-ish on both sides. Kind of a name that we've been seeing people gravitate towards. Been someone that can offer you mid to high 30 fantasy points. We have seen a little bit of bust potential in the last couple games. And then Scotty Barnes, 7.2K on FanDuel. OG Anunoby, 7.2K on FanDuel, 6.8K on DraftKings. A big stock guy. But this year, he's added scoring to his skill set. I don't know if I'm ready to live in the world where OG Anunoby gives me 20-plus real points a game, but that's exactly what he's done in 3 games straight. Minutes are going to be there. The shot volume has been there, and we know the peripheral is going to be there. Raj, this is kind of a darned if you do, darned if you don't kind of game with it being so low scoring and likely slow in pace. Is there anything that you feel like you must have here? Thinking back to a question in chat earlier where my boy, I think it was Dave, wanted to run 3 Raptors. Would you stay away from 3 Raptors in this pace in total, or do you think the prices are still okay enough for each guy to kind of get there? I feel like I can make cases for both, especially on DraftKings.
I mean, yeah. So a guy like OG Anunoby, I mean, who's been incredibly consistent at that price. I think 40 plus here it's definitely a possibility. 6,800 got a little bit of price bump, but I still like it. So I like Anunoby here. Scotty Barnes, he has that 40 plus point upside, but he also has a floor of 20. Which when I'm playing with tournaments, I'm with all of that too. I mean, guy like VanVleet at 8-1. I think there's other guys I'd rather get to today at that price point. But I think again, he's in play. And the guy in Orlando that's just getting it done is Cole Anthony. He just had I want to say 3 or 4 slates where you needed him to win, maybe 2 or 3. So I mean, last game he had 40, 2 games before that 66. I mean, 6,500, 40 bomb. You'll take that all day, every day against the Raptors, who aren't necessarily that elite on defense yet. I think give me some Cole Anthony here.
Yeah, I got a chat. I got a message from Chronic saying, "Man, put me in there." Are we about to do this? I will say, I do not have a graphic for the both of y'all, so we might have to do some live editing. But chat, if you want to, I probably figured out in 2 minutes. If you guys want this, if you want this 3-way between me, Jalen, and God dang it, what am I doing? But between
Jalen, let's go.
me, Raj, and Chronic, I'll try and figure it out. I guess what we would do is we would create. I feel like if I open a call with him, it's gonna hang up on you. It says add friends to DM. You need to be friends with Jan Clark to start a group DM. All right, Raj, accept that friend request, and Chronic, accept that friend request on Discord. What up, Encore? What up,
About to be a 3-way, a different kind of 3-way, but it's okay.
We gotta slow it down, bro. We are definitely, yeah. Typically people, I've had this compliment a few times. Gunn, I appreciate that I can listen to you in the car while picking up the kids on the way home. You guys are crushing that demographic right now. So
I mean, if they're picking up the 16, 17, 18-year-olds, I feel like I'm dropping knowledge, just getting them ready for their
stop. Okay, stop. Let's add Chronic here. Let's add Chronic here. All right, chat. Give me just a minute. We'll figure this out.
In the building.
Create group DM with Jalen Carter. Or you're already in here. So I'm gonna add Chronic. Create group DM. This may hang up on you for a second. If it does, we'll figure it out.
Okay, bang bang.
Yeah.
Hey, Chronic in the building. I see you, Chronic. Okay.
Give me a second to get this look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing on the user side. We don't need to see me, just you two. And then I guess we'll just go to the breakdown 1 cam. And then I will add you guys probably to the side. So chat, this isn't gonna look super polished, but I think you guys are cool with a little extra. So we'll go. Is it window capture that we want? Probably. Get you guys added. And then where do we put you guys?
Well, it's in a little box.
Yeah. Let's minimize that.
Hey, you're gonna need a triple box version for next time.
Yeah, I mean, I literally had asked Chronic to, if he wanted to.
Yeah, I was under the impression it was an ad hoc thing. You let me know when you need the services.
All right,
Hey,
how's that?
Klein, you ever grow a beard, or you always been clean shaven?
Man, I can't grow facial hair. It's unfortunate. I
Ah,
get
one of those.
patchy.
I hear you.
Yeah,
One of those. You know, get that
itchy.
road game. Get that road game.
Chad, what do you guys think of this? This look good? Not blocking nothing. I think we're good, right? Not bad for an on the fly. Figure it out.
Yeah, we'll be good with that.
Chronic, we're on game one, man. You got any special vested interest in Raptors and Magic? I do feel like even though the pace and the total is projected to be so low, there's price points I can justify not just the Raptors, but like Cole Anthony. I wouldn't hate getting to a little bit of him. Franz Wagner, sub 5K. He's always projecting well in my soft projections. And then Mo Bamba's been a machine, a stock machine. He's 6,500 on Fanduel. 2-3 blocks, a steal or so. Like that'll go a long way towards a strong floor. And the Raptors, they're allowing over 7 blocks a game so far. So big spot for a couple of these guys at their price points. Maybe we get surprised by some guys overachieving and otherwise modest expectations versus the game total and the pace.
Man, I think that I'm really interested in maybe one of these bigs like his Precious Achua. I know he's starting at the center for Toronto, but I'm pretty. I can Google this real quick, but I'm pretty sure he's like 6'7", 6'8". I think he's just really, really athletic. So you can see a Mo Bamba who's like what 7'5", not really, but you know what I mean. Like getting some boards there. But I'm also interested in Fred VanVleet. I think that he's had 250 bombs on DK in the last 2 games. One against the Pacers and the other one was against it
Indiana.
was the Bulls. Yeah, the Pacers and the Bulls. He dropped 50 both games. He's only at 8.1K. It's a 7-game slate, I believe. So, if he can give me a 40 ball, 50 ball, I'd be happy with 8.1K out of Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, we just got a super chat from the Crazy 10 Smackarooskies. There's a deal is a deal going. Chronic is here. Happy Friday. And then Joe Vasquez says, on the road and enjoying this amazing comedy show. Keep up the great work, man. That's love, man. I appreciate both of y'all. Yeah, so I do think I'm going to have some more nuggets here. I probably have to control myself and not get more than 2. I think I personally don't want my Opto to give me more than 2 guys from the Raptors just as I don't know, just thinking out loud, like on the slate this big, like how often is 3 guys from the same team at a 206 total with under 100 projected possessions going to be optimal? So that's probably how I would compromise. Like I like the prices, I like the opportunity, but I don't know if I get a true ceiling output from prices for 3 of these guys. So yeah, you can give me VanVleet, Anunoby, even Barnes and Achua in a player pool. And the same with maybe Cole Anthony. I'm not as enamored with Jalen Suggs. Maybe you guys can talk me the other way. But I think Cole Anthony and Mo Bamba are the 2 guys I'm more interested in. But I guess I wouldn't push back on a Wendell Carter or something like that. But I definitely have to govern it. I'm not gonna likely allow more than 2 Raptors. And I'm also kind of iffy about more than 1 Magic. But I think 2 will be the number I'll compromise on. Obi-Wan, you're gone 2 hosts today. We are blessed. Yeah, man, I'm game for more of this. I just, I'll have a more professional. Actually, I don't know. I haven't done more than 1 co-host on a Discord call. I don't know how I can make it look any better than it is right now, but it's not that bad.
No, I didn't look bad at all.
Yeah, you can even make ourselves bigger. Who needs the spreadsheet when you got 3 hosts dropping gems?
Quinn says, I like Carter and Bamba from the Magic, especially Bamba on Fanduel. Yeah, Bamba's stock potential is nuts. The blocks are absolutely insane. Obviously, high block guys can also sometimes become high foul guys, depending on the refs and who they're going against. But yeah, it is what it is.
Miles Turner.
4,200 and 4,400 for Terrence Ross revenge game. Raj, any value interest in T Ross?
I mean, as a value guy, I roster T Ross a lot, just as a guy in that 4K range that who can get you, 30 plus fantasy points, 40 plus when he gets hot. So at 4,400, sure, but I think there's going to be so much value today with these injuries that, again, like you mentioned, these prices are nice, but there's just so many other better spots today that this game won't be necessarily a focus.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Revenge for Ken Burch too, right? Let's move on to the next game. Miami Heat hosting the Charlotte Hornets. 2-2-2 and another 1-2 is our total. 5-point spread favor the home team Miami Heat. Projected starting 5 for the Hornets: LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier maybe questionable, Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, Mason Plumlee taking on Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy G, Buckets, PJ Tucker, and Bam Adebayo. Adebayo questionable. I think I saw that Lowry was probable. Don't quote me on that. And then Terry
Mid-game
Rozier
downgrade for Adebayo.
was yeah, and then Rozier was questionable, and PJ is doubtful. So Miles Bridges, I guess we should have a Miles Bridges conversation. This guy is doing craziness. He's averaging 26 real points per game right now, leading the team. You might expect that to walk backwards a little bit if we start getting Rozier healthy, we start getting PJ Washington in the mix, but it does feel like they found something here. I don't know what's real and what's fake, but I do know so far, so good. 8K for Bridges on FanDuel, 7,300 on DK. Normally, I'm going to want the north side of 40 fantasy points. If Bam Adebayo was in, I'd feel okay with being a little bit more trepidatious about getting to him with any type of volume. Right now, I'm kind of at an impasse. I think at 8K on Bridges, I'm willing to kind of step back and watch the field play him. I guess if Terry Rozier was out, I'd feel a little bit more confident. But I guess I'll start with you, Chronic. What's your lean on this Hornets team? Are we priced out of everyone? And is LaMelo Ball ever going to get to 35 minutes by hook or by crook? It seems like between getting benched or between being in foul trouble, he's just not getting the minutes that we would really, really like to see to extrapolate a ceiling game at 8,300. But we know he has triple-double potential. So, Chronic, your leans to start with on this one.
Yeah, man. So LaMelo Ball is an interesting case. I remember last year there was a quote that came out from their coach. Don't remember his name. But I remember we had mentioned this in the voice chat on a couple of days ago. The last time he played, but like Melo's not going to be out there if he's not playing defense. Well, effective defense is what the coach said, and he's still getting like 26, 27. He had that one game in Boston. That was that was an overtime game, and he got 32 minutes. It's hard to trust it, man. He's not super expensive at 8,300, knowing that what he can do. Is this a plus matchup? No. Is it a plus place? No. Is his minute safe? No. I think he's a safe fade if you ask me. One thing about Melo though is he's out there, he's chucking, his usage is through the roof, right? He's like 30% usage even in the time that he's out there. So if you want to bank on his skill set, sure, but like minutes equal money if you ask me. And I'm also a big, DVP guy as well. And Kyle Lowry is somebody I pick on.
So Bam Adebayo was initially listed as questionable, dealing with a knee. He was then downgraded to questionable. If he doesn't play, the depth chart includes Dwayne Dedmon, 3,500 on DraftKings. You'd be in on that.
100% Dwayne Dedmon, 3,500. Dude's good. Anytime he gets minutes, it's a double-double machine. I think he's good for 30 DKP at 3,500. I just lock him in. Like Montrezl Harrell yesterday, lock him in. Don't get cute. He's averaging about 16 minutes a game, backing him up. You probably want to give him maybe 28 to 30 minutes if Bam Adebayo misses, especially against Charlotte, who can go big. So give me all the Dwayne Dedmon there at that price tag.
So yeah, and if Adebayo was out, this usually tougher matchup becomes a little softer. And Mason Plumlee, 6,200 on FanDuel, 64 on DraftKings, definitely a guy I could see being a point per minute in production. And then on the Heat side, I do want to identify a pretty large price discrepancy between FanDuel and DraftKings, and that's on Kyle Lowry. He's 5,900 on FanDuel, over 7K on DK, so you're getting over $1,000 gap. And Lowry's somebody with the newfound multi-position eligibility allowed. He won't clog up he won't clog up access to a top-end guy like a Luka or a Westbrook. Those guys are shooting guard eligible as well, and Lowry's only point guard, but the point being you could play Luka or Westbrook at the shooting guard when in years past you'd have to give up one of those to get to a perhaps underpriced Lowry. He played 34 minutes against the Nets, only 26 FanDuel points, but we know he has the potential to drop 30 plus. I don't want, Raj would say he's a triple-double threat, but the assist rate's going to be high. The assist rate's going to be high.
Thank you, Chronic.
And if he's taken 5 or more threes each game so far. So if he hits a couple more threes, gets to a couple more peripherals, maybe picks up some of the rebounds in the absence of Adebayo, I do think he's a play on FanDuel at 5,900. And then Jimmy Butler without Adebayo would definitely be.
Talk about it.
Yeah, that would be intriguing to me. I'll let you. I'll go pull up the run here, but Chronic, how bullish would you be on Butler if Adebayo was out? It is the Hornets, a very soft matchup.
Yeah, so it's a soft matchup. I was looking at really quick while you were talking about Kyle Lowry to see if their turnover rate was crazy, but they actually are not that sloppy of a team because Jimmy Butler lives basically in the passing lanes, picking pockets. I think he had like five. I got it right here. He had 4, 5, and 3 steals in the last 2 games, so he's definitely got the stocks. And I think that while Bam Adebayo is out, how do you not pencil in more usage for him? I think that when we saw Bam Adebayo out beforehand, he was Jimmy Butler was the guy, albeit a different team because last year Bam Adebayo had more distributing duties, and I think that's moved on to Kyle Lowry. But I think that how do you not put the ball in Jimmy's hands more, increases usage, and then what is he on DK? Jimmy's
8-7.
pretty. Yeah, he's not super expensive there. He's the
Yeah.
same play as the same price as Brandon Ingram, right? I would
Yep.
probably take Brandon Ingram. I mean, I would probably take Jimmy Butler in that matchup. It wasn't a head to head.
And that's contingent on Adebayo being out, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So there's obviously a little bit of noise here, but I dialed back the NBA Wowie tool from Add More Funds, !AMF in the chat if you guys want to jump in on this. But I took Adebayo off the court, Butler on. Yeah, there's Goran Dragic and a Linux and stuff like that. But just generally, I wanted to get an idea of what might benefit or behoove Butler here. His assist percentage jumped over 40%, and he's averaging over 1.5 fantasy points per minute on the sample size without Bam Adebayo. So absolutely a spot where Butler could drop another 50, and we could be like, oh yeah, Jimmy Butler kind of good, and then you take out a guy like Adebayo who doesn't really get maybe the respect he deserves in terms of maybe creating some shots or even opening spacing for peripherals. Yeah, it's a boost here for Butler. We don't expect PJ Tucker to do anything offensively, and the Dwayne Dedmon definitely a downgrade here. So someone's got to pick up the slack here, and the Charlotte Hornets are a tasty matchup, up in pace team, 103 possessions per game so far, and their offensive rating has been pretty plus. So the Heat's gonna have to keep up with them, you would think. And yeah, Butler's in a massive spot. I do like the DK price a little bit more. I do feel like a double could be on deck here, and then you mentioned the steal potential as well could offset that Fanduel price, and LaMelo Ball has had as many as 6 turnovers in the last couple games, and stuff like that tends to maybe get him shoved to the bench here. Let me play a little what if with you guys. What if Terry Rozier is in? He's been questionable last couple games. He's dealing with an ankle injury. If he were to play, that would pull down perhaps some usage and some shot volume for Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, guys like that. At 8K on Miles Bridges on FanDuel, 7,300 on DK. If Terry Rozier was in right now, how much, if any, do you get to on Bridges? Raj, I'll go to you because you seem to be a Bridges guy.
So if Terry Rozier is in, I might even be looking at kind of fading the Charlotte team altogether. Just because with their I think their price right now for him being out. So Terry Rozier back, he's a bit of, I don't want to say like a total high usage guy, but he has some usage, probably close to the 18 to 20% on this team. So if he's in, I would be happy just fading all these guys. Could a guy like, especially LaMelo at 8-3, I probably don't get there. Could a guy like Bridges still get there at 7-3? Sure, but he needs 40 at that price. And I think with Terry Rozier back, that scoring is going to come down from averaging 26 to maybe 19, 20 a game. So I would just kind of fade this whole Charlotte team if Terry Rozier plays.
All right, let's get caught up in chat here.
Also, really quick before you move on, if he does play, do you not just strap Jimmy Butler to him and shut him down? Talking about Bridges here. I mean, if we talk about he's the highest PPG guy. I think Gordon Hayward, while that probably would be the natural. I mean, even PJ Tucker's not a plus matchup. I'm not saying we hired from PJ Tucker, but like he's decent.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's tough. I think he's really priced up. Don't get me wrong. Miles Bridges is a Spartan. I'm a Spartan. That's my guy. Not today. Not
that guy, pal. Tyrell said, or what up, Kickstart? What up, EB? EB says, Chronic with the Jameis Winston face, smoke one.
I do not look like Jameis. I do not look like Jameis.
Let me. I like the Keith Lee comp more, a little bit more here. Jameis is I don't know. Could you just real quick? Could you make the W and
I'm not doing the
no?
W. No, I was doing it out the camera, and I was like, nope. I'm not.
What? You really leaned over like. What that is? Who want this W? You want to eat this W? Oh my gosh! All right, let's move on to the next game here. Indiana Pacers at the Brooklyn Nets. Project starting 5 for the Pacers. T.J. McConnell, Chris Duarte, Justin Holiday, Domantas Sabonis, Miles Turner up against James Harden, Joe Harris, Bruce Brown, Kevin Durant, and Blake Griffin. We got a 2-2-2 and another one 2 as our total, and an 8.5-point spread in favor of the home team Brooklyn Nets. Some moving pieces of news to watch here. We'll start with the Pacers side first and foremost. First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. Secondly, Malcolm Brogdon is out. He got injured. He's dealing with a sore left hamstring. Karis LeVert, though, questionable. He's expected to be back about any day now. We'll see if today is the day. A little bit of revenge narrative if you are. Even if he did play, you probably wouldn't be able to comfortably project him for more than 15 to 20 minutes. But what we do know is that Brogdon's out. TJ McConnell has thrived in a per minute standpoint in the past, has been more so based on his stocks, especially his steals, but he's definitely someone that can satisfy a price point. It does look like the sites kind of got ahead of this and made him a decision that you have to contemplate. It wasn't like a free 4K square, nothing like that, but I still have him close to 30 fantasy points on both sides, so he's not somebody I would ignore. And then Chris Duarte is somebody that would probably get a few more shots. TJ McConnell, more of a pass first ball handler, and then Sabonis and Miles Turner would kind of be the guys I'd be most interested in. I guess Sabonis is at the peak here. They are pretty decent underdogs here, 8.5 points against a Brooklyn team that hasn't looked super great to start the season, but this Pacers defense has struggled. You take out Brogdon, Brogdon represents what, 35 to 35 plus minutes of plus player, and there's not a whole lot of depth behind it. So I guess the first question is, one, do we expect this game to stay competitive? And if we did, how does it stay competitive? And I think if you look at the Pacers side, the guy that I would be pointing at to have the highest ceiling is easily Sabonis. My soft projections spit back over 50 fantasy points on both sides. He's sub 10K. He might get lost in the shuffle with some of the other studs on the slate based on some other news that may or may not drop. I do like that. And then if we also peg this to be competitive, I think Kevin Durant's in a fun spot to potentially lead the slate in fantasy points. It's easy to maybe dismiss his last game or so without putting context to it. But if you look at that game against Miami, 37 minutes, Miami, tougher defense, Adebayo, Jimmy Butler. Kevin Durant still thrived well over a fantasy point per minute in those 37 minutes. And then prior to that, a little bit of a lopsided game against Washington. And then these more competitive games, you're seeing 50 plus fantasy points. We dialed it back to the beginning of last year with him and Harden on, Kyrie off. He was averaging almost 1.4, 1.5 fantasy points per minute. So I definitely think this is a KD spot. We gave him the thumbnail for a reason. But I guess I'll go to Raj first. 2 questions. One, do you think this game is staying close? And if it is, how much Sabonis, how much Kevin Durant? Which one do you like more?
So I think this game stays close. I think Indiana is a team that's been in a lot of shootouts this year. It seems like every slate, teams that are going together and put up points and fantasy studs. TJ McConnell is an absolute lock with no Malcolm Brogdon, 5,500. Whenever he's still playing 20 minutes a game, you give this guy 30 minutes and the usage, he has 40, 50 point upside. We've seen that game before. So especially against this Brooklyn team that's not playing a lot of good defense, give me all TJ McConnell. Sabonis, again, tier 1, 9,400, too cheap with no Brogdon. No one on Brooklyn's going to guard him. Last game, he took 4 shots. That's just like the biggest anomaly ever. I don't know what happened, why. He took the first 3 shots, and then he just stopped taking shots. So it's a little weird, but don't expect that to happen again. He should be in this spot. I would imagine 20 plus shots. He gets some of that assist percentage back because Brogdon was doing a lot of that. So again, I want to say triple double spot, but triple double spot for some bonus it is 9,400. Give me all of that.
Man, how do they forget?
Yeah,
Raj, last year he was dropping triple doubles.
That's the thing. No, exactly. This year, Brogdon just took over all the assists. I guess maybe Brogdon's feeling healthier and just a little better to take over the playmaking. But give me all TJ McConnell, give me Sabonis, and bring him back with Durant. I like it. 10-3. There's a lot of studs on the slate. I'm gonna wait to see how some news comes out, but I would never fault you for playing Durant in this matchup. Give me all the Durant too. So I think this is one of maybe the best game on the slate.
Yeah, so I think you really have to just about the assist thing from last year. They got a new coach, right? So they got Rick
Yeah.
Carlisle. So maybe that is a scheme thing, right? That maybe he's not having the ball at the top of the key, as we see Draymond do, and
Good
other
call.
players like that, big guys who
Yeah.
do that. But Sabonis, I mean, they got smoked by 18 against the Raptors, and I think part of it's because he was not involved in the offense. Why wasn't he last game? Who the hell knows? To be honest with you, that'd be till played him. I don't expect that to be a thing going forward. Like we know about Rick Carlisle with his, I think they're going to run like an 8-9 man rotation. And
Right.
and another thing about the game blowing out, James Harden is playing like trash. So if he's not, it is a one man show. It is Kevin Durant and Bruce Brown, right? Like I don't see that blowing out.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at. I think Kevin Durant might be that guy for me here. Claxton does have a Q tag on him. If he doesn't play, maybe you feel a little bit more confident on like Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge, maybe something like that. But KD is easily the target for me. There has been some infatuation from the field on Bruce Brown. I guess theoretically he is cheap, right? The KCP price point. Could he serve a purpose today if he dropped 25? He dropped 26 against a tougher Miami defense in that last outing, and encouraging that he played 35 minutes. Maybe I softened my hardened stance on I don't like Bruce Brown, because just looking at it, 35 minutes, 26, well under a fantasy point per minute. He's just really not that much of a fantasy contributor. But yeah, minutes equal money. He's cheap enough. I could understand it, but doesn't really it doesn't excite me. But Kevin Durant's upside does excite me if we got this game being competitive. Monkey wrench though, if Karis LeVert was thrown in there for 15 to 18 minutes, would that change any of your stances on Sabonis or anyone else on the Pacers? And I guess Chronic, just touch on TJ McConnell. Are you excited to play him? I do think maybe real points won't be there, but peripherals like steals and assists are likely going to be there. He is a scrapper. But are we sleeping on maybe like a Chris Duarte? He's been a deep sweat deep into the end of games lately to get there, but a couple times he's gotten there. And then Miles Turner, I know you're anti-Turner, foul prone, block heavy, but I do like bigs against the Nets in the last couple of years. I think plenty of peripherals could be there. I'm definitely concerned that was it against Milwaukee, they just didn't close with him. They were like, all right, we've seen enough, we've had enough, and Carlisle opted to go elsewhere.
He can't hang. He couldn't hang it. I told y'all that on stream. He can't hang with those guys, man. And I think that, like, we talked about it, looked at it. I think it was a matchup thing. It's not like he's in the doghouse, right? Because of the very next game, he played 22 minutes. I'm not playing Miles Turner. I just not. But if you talk about bigs against the Nets, isn't Sabonis a big? He plays power forward, and he's natural position. I think he's better playing center than anything else.
If you watch him space out, it looks like, and Sabonis is more of the center than Miles Turner is.
Definitely. So yeah, I really do like. I'm bullish on Sabonis today. I think I could have myself be having around 40% minimum of him. Just as I'm looking at the slate and seeing how it breaks down. Karis LeVert would affect TJ McConnell when he's in there, but who was it that got back there? Brad Wanamaker? I know somebody in the chat. I know you go back to the chat later on, but I just want to bring this up. Is that
Rick Carlisle going to trust him?
Yeah, so I'm saying I'm not sure if Wanamaker is going to be that guy, right? Has he ever been that guy? And we talk about triple double upside. Remember that game last year?
No,
talk about it.
Can't do it. Oh, was McConnell triple double with steals? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I thought you were trying to push Wanamaker like in this house.
No. I'm talking about McConnell triple double with steals, man. He got the upside.
Yeah, we've seen those breakout games. I do wish, like, I don't wish nothing. I appreciate that the site's got ahead of it, but 5,700, 5,500. 30 is probably the high-end median expectation for McConnell. So it's a decision. Like, if you want to target this game, I definitely wouldn't fault you for getting to McConnell. Duarte of the remaining players is second in real points per game here. Yeah. So if you put 110 implied points on him or 105 implied points on him, there's a good shot that Duarte has to be responsible. in the absence of Brogdon for upwards of 20 plus, right? So at 5,500, if you had 6K in that remaining util spot and you were just forced, or that remaining guard spot, would you lean Duarte or McConnell, Chronic first?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, the volume has been there. There are some overtime games in here, but yeah, 15 plus shot attempts.
The volume has been there even with Brogdon's taking 17 shots a game, right? So I think Duarte's role is solid. Does it change at all? Is what I'm curious about. We know that McConnell's not a shot taker as much as Brogdon is, so you would think that they have to distribute those shots out a little bit more. I definitely see a usage bump for Sabonis. And you would ideally think that on that starting unit, if McConnell is more so a facilitator, he's pick and roll, pick and popping, he's going to be trying to hit Duarte in the corner. So I think you could project him to have more shot attempts this game. So, but peripherals is what kills me, and I think that's how McConnell ends up getting there. I can't really answer that. Raj, help me out.
I mean, yeah, with Duarte again, he's a guy that's gonna chuck the shots here. He's not really much of a stock guy. He's not going to get you a lot of assists. Not really a big rebounder. Get you 4 or 5 here and there. But he's just a guy who's going to be really dependent on his upside. He probably needs 25 real life points. And I guess with those Brogdon shots, McConnell's not going to take a ton. So if you want to give him a few extra shots, I think that's fine. At 5,500, I mean, it's a pretty interesting debate between him and TJ McConnell, 1v1, who scores more fantasy points.
Yeah, that's what sparked this. Looking back to last year, I did take Sabonis, or put Sabonis on the court. I took Brogdon off. I didn't do anything else to tighten it up, but Sabonis did exceed 31% assist rate, and TJ McConnell is also over 30%. So yeah, he's a pass first facilitator, which is the boost for Chris Duarte, right? I think we'll see a lot of I don't want to say extra looks, but I do think Duarte, if Duarte took 20 plus shot attempts here, even if he led the team in shot attempts, I wouldn't be surprised. And right now in my projections, I got him second on the team in minutes, and that's spitting back over 30 fantasy points. Let me get caught up on chat here before we move on.
Real quick. Would you play 3, I guess, the Chronic? Would you play 3 paces in the lineup?
I'll cap him at 2. I think that I don't think this game blows out so it's 8.5 spread. I'll bet the under on that. I would do 2 and run it back with KD. I wouldn't play. To answer the question from earlier, I think I'm leaning towards McConnell. I think, like you were saying about Duarte, if he wants to smash that spot, he has to hit all his shots. And TJ McConnell could smash 5,500 with 6 points, real points.
I hear you.
Yeah. So no. So to answer your question, no, I probably cap him at 2.
Got it.
Crispy says, all things being equal, Russell Westbrook or James Harden. Assuming LBJ is closer to Al, even if he's in, I kind of lean more towards Westbrook here. Harden, I was listening to some of the excerpts from Harden after his recent game, and he was talking about how he really didn't have rehab time. He has been down on himself confidence-wise. As he starts getting lower and lower below 10K, you do feel like that's getting to a dangerous price point. One of these days it's going to pop. TJ McConnell a little scrappy, so I'm going to lean towards Westbrook there. Do you guys have any pushback on Westbrook over Harden?
Not even close.
All right. Quinn says it's not a lock that McConnell starts. Carlisle could elect to start Wanamaker, leave McConnell second unit. That's fair. I still wouldn't be excited to play Wanamaker. He's not a monster star lock, but definitely one of the best plays. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
You talk about McConnell.
Oh, Westbrook. Okay. Kelly Oubre or Bledsoe on Fanduel. So Oubre's viability is probably contingent on the status of Terry Rozier. So right now I would lean Bledsoe. You could almost make the case Bledsoe anyway, because Oubre will still be more volatile than not in that matchup, and Bledsoe's kind of just locked into his role. And I'm a Bledsoe guy so far. Tal says Raj is effing hilarious. I always thought he was a cool white dude, judging by his voice.
I mean, I went to school with a bunch of white boys. My school's 90%, so maybe rubbed off. But we got a little more swag than the white boys.
My boy,
and my dances are way better.
My boy,
better too.
My boy Mac from Kentucky. I haven't seen him with Jayhawk Mayer. He used to think when we didn't use face cams. He thought I was black, right? So he gets into VIP and he goes, "Wait, Gunn, you're white?" He goes, "I've been taking basketball advice from a white guy." Like he was serious about it.
Pain.
Yeah, I don't know what you can do. Tone says I love stacking Indy. Game's not blowing out. I'm with that. Izzo says Turner 1v1, Miles Turner or Mo Bamba. I'm probably nudging towards Mo Bamba.
Yeah, do not play Miles Turner right now.
I don't hate Miles Turner. I do think he's extremely volatile. I never want to really get more than like 10-15% invested just because of his propensity to get in foul trouble. And we've seen his minutes kind of downside. We've seen O'Shea Brissett be opted to be the closer, and even in the Nets, if the Nets go small ball, you would just see Sabonis as the maybe the small ball center. So Miles Turner has plenty of paths to be a risk here, and you think Mo Bamba is a little bit more baked in. As long as those blocks don't turn into fouls, I think Mo Bamba is the safer option with similar upside. Turner, of course, being the guy that can shoot the three a little bit more, but what are you gonna do? In tiers, you like Sabonis or JVal? Talking pure ceiling, probably.
Oh, please.
I'm gonna go Sabonis there.
So
Right?
That's so close.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, J-Ball's in an elite spot. The minutes.
Don't bury the lead, bro. Don't bury the lead. I've been waiting on this all stream.
Okay.
All right, well, I tell you what, let's let that simmer on the stove. We got to pace up a little bit. Next game on the docket, Sacramento Kings taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. Project starting five for the Kings, De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, Harrison Barnes, Mo. How could you be so heartless? Rashawn Holmes taking on friend of the channel. Chad, if you ever see the upcoming live streams and you click on it, there's a channel trailer featuring the homie Devontae Graham telling you should be liking, subscribing this channel. So if you haven't, check it out on tomorrow. Fun little nugget on the channel. It's not a public video. It's only if you click the stream link before we're live. Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, and Jonas Valanciunas. 221 is our total. 1.5 point spread in favor of the visiting Sacramento Kings. So a decent total here to target, and more excitingly for me is a tight spread. So this is a competitive game projection wise. Some okay price points to get to, and maybe one of the more stackable games to target. We do want to tackle the New Orleans Pelicans news here, and I think it's really just Josh Hart. He has missed a stretch of games. He is officially questionable, dealing with a right quadricep tendonitis. He was injured during the season opener, has not played since, so I probably lean him closer to out than in until further notice. Garrett Temple, doubtful with a left ankle sprain. If Hart did not play, we have seen them use Herb Jones in the starting lineup, and that has also boosted the minutes, the predictive value in minutes and usage for the Pelicans. We've seen Devontae Graham thrive. We've seen Nickeil Alexander-Walker thrive. Brandon Ingram and J-Val, Jonas Valanciunas feel like the safer options, and then plenty of run back options here. De'Aaron Fox feeling a little bit too cheap, in my opinion. AK on Fanduel, 8,400 on DK. And then Rashawn Holmes. Check this out. 7,500 on Fanduel. A little tougher to feel great about. But under 6K on DraftKings, that's feeling like an incredible value. So I love this game. It's probably one of my favorite game stacks. I guess, Chronic, we'll go with you. This will be a great segue to the Jonas Valanciunas versus Domantas Sabonis debate. I think I lean Sabonis. Realistically, it could be plus minus 5 fantasy points if you're really that high on J-Val. But what do you love from this game? And then, follow up that J-Val versus Sabonis discussion.
Yeah, so I think that, and here's the thing. So I think that the field is, I'm not going to say, the field is sharp, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you had a 1v1 and you're trying to, like I said, get ownership discount on somebody, and you're talking about Sabonis, who people know Brogdon's out, he's probably going to garner some ownership here at the center position. And if you tell me for $200 less, wait, hold on really quick. Let's make sure I'm getting that math right. Actually, no, it's a little more than that. Almost, yeah, it's a little more than that. Less money, I can get J-Val in a smash spot. We're talking about Jonas Valanciunas, who's been averaging around 34 minutes a game. He's against, and I know, Gunn, that you said there's a little noise in DVP, but even last year against the same center, Sacramento's terrible. We talk about a top 3 matchup for centers. J-Val is eating, and he's eating often, and the difference between last year's J-Val and this year's J-Val has been the minutes. Mm-hmm. Minutes equals money. So you tell me a matchup here. I would be surprised if J-Val drops a 20-20 game, and I'm not BSing here. I'm so serious right now. J-Val is probably my second favorite play on the slate. I'm going to have so much J-Val today. J-Val over Sabonis, for me, if you got some balls and you can play the ownership. That's all I'm saying.
So play them together and don't play Durant in the line? I'm with that too.
if you play them together, you can't play Durant, you can't play Westbrook.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's how you differentiate, right? Maybe you could take down something with that.
Defensive rating for the Sacramento Kings, bottom 10 in basketball right now. New Orleans a little closer to average, but I expect these numbers to normalize a little bit more, stabilize a little bit more. Again, a little bit of extreme results on 5 or less games of sample size, but rebound rates have been pretty soft for the Kings as well. A 21% offensive rebound rate, 73.8% defensive rebound rate. Again, short sample size, but yeah, plenty of opportunity for Jonas Valanciunas to, like you said, maybe get to that 2020. I'm with you on the potential of J Val. I do think 9+ K salary is coming. This is a guy, Toronto, no matter where he's been, Memphis, he's been ridiculous on a per minute basis, but the minutes haven't been there. And New Orleans giving him that extension, giving him the minutes, it's looking like these are his minutes to keep, and it's his fantasy ceiling for us to enjoy. Raj, what are you doing with this one? Talk to me a little bit about De'Aaron Fox, and don't call him De'Aaron or I will slap you. De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox feels like a fun. I mean, we don't have to force run backs and correlations, but De'Aaron Fox feels a little bit underpriced for the potential that this game could get to. And then your boy Harrison Barnes. What do you think?
That's exactly why Fox is not been performing this year. Fox is no longer the best player on this team. It is Harrison Barnes' team.
Stop it. Stop it.
Harrison Barnes is the best player on the Sacramento Kings. It's no joke. Fox is taking a step back. He's a number 2 option. That's cute. Being a number 2 option is great. Great for him, averaging 18 points, 8 assists a game. That's cute. I like it. 8,400 against the Pelicans team. I'm going to take a shot at it, but I'm playing Harrison Barnes all day, every day over Fox at his price. Harrison Barnes, 7,400, being the number 1 option on his team and the best player on his team against this Pelicans team, 7,400. That could be a walking 50 bomb waiting to happen. So give me some Harrison Barnes. So he's the number 1 guy on Sacramento team. On the Pelicans, I do love me some Devontae Graham. Devontae Graham at 6K, it should be a spot again where he's going to chuck 16, 17 shots. Past 2 games, 35, 40 DK. Should be good for 25-5 here. So at 6K, if you want him and Valanciunas versus TJ McConnell and Sabonis, interesting 2v2. I think it's really close, but I love me some Devontae Graham here too.
I think Graham is fine. I think there's some volatility between his success and NAW's success at these price points. Can we talk about the fact that you just said De'Aaron Fox is no longer the best player on his...
Definitely not. He's definitely not.
Stop it.
Harrison Barnes is elite.
I can't... Chronic, every time I've been in a Harrison Barnes debate with this man, Barnes has a 50 bomb. So I can't... I'm not even going to dig this hole.
He's about to have a game winner, 50 bomb today too. 25, 10, and 5.
Gun, what's been going on with Fox, man? It's
Barnes. It's literally Barnes' resurgence. He's taking more shots.
But if there was a matchup to go off, it's against 5'8" Devontae Graham, friend of the show.
Yeah,
you know that.
No, I agree. I also think Halliburton's a facilitator as well, so maybe stealing away some of those potential assists, right? That Buddy Hield doesn't really replicate. So having Fox and Halliburton on the court at the same time, good for real life basketball. Maybe a little less than spectacular for fantasy basketball. So could be pulling away from his ceiling. But yeah, like you said, Devontae Graham, the path of least resistance if we start identifying individual matchups. So I like a resurgence game here for De'Aaron Fox. My algorithm liked him, almost 50 fantasy points on Fanduel, 44 on DK. I mean, this is buyer's remorse, buy low, sell high. Buy high, sell low type of situation. Do you think, if you honestly think that Barnes is the guy going forward, that's between you, Barnes, and Jesus. But De'Aaron Fox is playing too many minutes for me to just ignore that last year. He was just an incredible asset and a guy that can stuff the stat sheet here. Maybe a game like this. I mean, put a little context to some of these games too, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at them now.
At Phoenix, tough matchup. Always a tough matchup. Utah, tough matchup. Golden State, you definitely expected a little bit more, but he still took, double-digit shot attempts, and then at Portland to start the season, 20-plus shot attempts. Like the volume and the usage is still there for me to be somewhat.
You know who didn't struggle in those matchups? Harrison Barnes destroyed Phoenix, destroyed Utah. Ain't no excuses out here. Stop giving excuses to Fox. He's just not the best player on his team anymore. Time to face reality.
So past the fact that your takes are pretty asinine, I will say Harrison Barnes at 38-minute projection in a game that I like. He is leading the team. He's averaging a 26-point double-double on the season. Are you playing him at 7.8K on FanDuel, at 74 on DraftKings? Like, realistically, in 20 lineups, how much are you, Raj, getting to Harrison Barnes in this spot?
So definitely, I think he's a tier 2. The tier 1 guys are going to be filled with guys where guys are out, some injuries with the Miami guys, Indiana guys. But right after that, I mean, again, Devontae Graham, Valanciunas, and bringing it all the way back with Harrison Barnes. So probably a 20%er for me.
Okay. And J-Val, the number one bring back here. Where do we rank Brandon Ingram? So I've got Ingram at 37 minutes as well. Also averaging over 25 real points a game here, 40-plus fantasy points. My favorite two from the Pelicans, I know you guys are on Devontae. NAW exists. I like those guys, I think, could eat at each other. But you put Ingram and J-Val in a lineup for me, and maybe we fire that on, two of these Kings. Can we talk about this Rashawn Holmes price point? Do you guys not think this is a little too low for Rashawn Holmes? He's a guy that has been near point per minute production his career, and there's a big discrepancy between his FanDuel price and his DK price, much like the De'Aaron Fox. We put a little context to strength of schedule at Phoenix. Utah's in the mix as well, and he's still out there getting you over a point per minute. This could be a sneaky, Raj, I'm going to say this could be a sneaky 50 bomb if we put him at 30 minutes here in this spot.
Is he a little undersized and underweight for?
I mean, it doesn't, like from like a hustle standpoint, it doesn't matter. He's gotten you a double-double in every game that's not against Rudy Gobert in 18 minutes. And even in that 18 minutes, 29 fantasy points. This might be.
What if I told you that, remember during my rant, I said that Sacramento's the top 3 matchup against centers. And mind you, we do know it's noisy, 5 games, but it's just, like I said, it's the same thing, right? It's the same guys playing these positions. Well, Sacramento's a top 3 matchup. The Pelicans are a top 2 matchup. So J-Bell's actually worse.
I like that.
I'm telling you, like Rashawn Holmes
is cheap.
Is way too cheap. This feels. I'm not gonna say Montrezl Harrell levels, but 40-plus fantasy points is a realistic output, like realistic in my opinion. If you get to 30-ish minutes, Alex Len exists, Tristan Thompson exists. We're worried about those guys maybe interfering here, and maybe their size gets a little bit more called on against the J-Val. But man, per minute, there has been no complaints for Rashawn Holmes. So on DK specifically, not so much FanDuel 7,500, but on DK, a sub 6K double-double seems like it's in the works here. So give me some of that. And then, of course, keep an eye on Josh Hart. Let's get caught up on the live chat. DM says, what about Alex Len? I don't think I'm getting there here. I definitely don't think I'm getting there. Who has a higher ceiling, Jonas Valanciunas or Jimmy Butler? Wow, we're
that's a tough one. Jimmy with no Bam, and then J-Val just an elite spot. That's
I'm gonna go J-Val, like that J-Val. That's just that's me. I'm gonna go J-Val. Jimmy's fine, but the floor ceiling seems a little safer, high ratio. A lot of Raj truthers here on the Harrison Barnes tape. Debo says I'm with Raj. ABG says they hated him because he told the truth. Okay, Raj is the DFS Kaepernick now.
My favorite comment is Brandon's. Out of all the languages in the world, Raj decides to speak facts.
Bro, when are we on the wrong side of a Raj take? Wow,
we are not cashing today, boys.
Let's see how this slate turns out.
Gun representing that Staten Island swag. South Beach, stand up. What's up? Robin Road. You guys been down there? Let me know. Mongo, would Raj sleep with Harrison Barnes' girlfriend?
I mean, let's be real. She probably fine as hell. So hell yeah, they're gonna get no problem getting another one. He ain't gonna have no problem getting another one. So Barnes, yes.
Holmes is gonna do the same thing. Talented first game against Joe Val, foul trouble, maybe. But I still think per minute the opportunity cost a little too low at 5,800. 7,500, I probably don't like make it. Like you might not even make my player pool on FanDuel, but I do think a sub 6K center likely to get me a double. Yeah, you might be dealing with fouls or whatever, but he's just too efficient per minute at that price point to not have. 1v1 Devontae Graham or NAW on FanDuel. If Josh Hart was out, I think NAW would probably be game to game a little bit safer just because he does offer some peripheral so your rebound, stuff like that. If Josh Hart was in, he's sneaky with the boards, so he might take away some of those rebounds from NAW, and then maybe I lean a little bit more Devontae Graham. Neither one of those guys would be like snap calls for me at 6K, but I do think they're both volatile. They're coming in about the same projection for me, with Devontae having a little bit more, like less than a fantasy point more. So I'm leaning NAW if Hart's out, and then I would push it to Devontae if Hart's in.
Really quick, I can confirm that he is married to a baddie. Harrison Barnes.
I'm with that. But I was looking it up too. I think it's a long-time girlfriend, so he's been with her for a while. I ain't gonna ruin that.
They're married. I see the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She ain't no like Instagram hoe. She a real woman. So you know what? I'm gonna let that be. I'm gonna let him be. I don't want to ruin no one else with that.
Bro, I'm over. You know what I got on my screen? I got usage rate tools, on-off court tools, all this good stuff, and you guys are out here Googling girlfriends. This is
facts.
The most diverse DFS NBA show you'll find. Dallas Mavericks at the Denver Nuggets. As we lower the voice a little bit, they go Jake Roberts on him. You want to play 21? I've got 22. Luka Doncic, Tim Hardaway Jr., Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dwight Powell, your projected starting five for the Mavs. On the Nuggets side, we're watching for Jokic news, but if Jokic is in, the project starting fives: Monte Morris, Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. 215.5 is our total, and a 2-point spread in favor of the Denver Nuggets. Mavericks, night two of a back-to-back. Jalen Brunson, Maxi Kleber, willing them out of the depths of a blowout from the Spurs to come away with a win. Lots of potential overreaction to be had here, potential underreaction to be had here. We'll start with the Nugget side, chat. This is going to be what shapes the slate. If Nikola Jokic is unable to go, it's going to just make people run towards Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., even Aaron Gordon to an extent, and trying to capitalize on them at home against maybe a dead-legged Mavs team. I got no quarrels with that fundamentally. I think it makes sense. We get a pretty much underpriced whole team stack. But if Jokic is in, I could see some trepidation on playing with him, and Biggs have just been dicing up the Mavericks. Jokic is dealing with a bruised right knee. He did not practice yesterday. He's still sore, but there is no structural damage, and he's considered, quote, day-to-day. So there is at least a chance that he's playing. He's officially questionable. This is a 10 p.m. Game. There is a world where we do not have this news before lock. Hopefully we do. If that drops while we're live, be sure to spam the chat. But realistically, Mike Malone or the Nuggets, they won't know. Like, it seems like it could be a true game time decision. Warm up, see how you feel, big fella. And then this is 3 hours after main slate lock. What do we do with it? And then on the Mavs side, last night Luka burned everyone that played him. We do know, dating back to the beginning of last year without Porzingis, he's been over 1.4 fantasy points per minute. And that first spell yesterday was bad. But, I mean, if you cut that game in half and you look at what he did the second half, like, he kind of picked it back up. Obviously, he tanked his salary point, but if he started, if he did what he did in the second half, the first half, becomes a good play. Is there going to be a hot stove overreaction for people that got burned last night to not play him tonight? And would this not be hashtag DFS for him to be a top scorer on the slate, to be in an optimal lineup? Raj, I'll throw it to you, man. What are you doing with this game? Let's go ahead and assume that Jokic is in right now, a soft assumption. What do you do with this game if that's the case?
I mean, if he's in, I guess Jokic is in play at 10-7 against this Dallas team. Should be a smash spot for him with Dallas with no Porzingis, nobody there to guard him. And I think he might get a little overlooked just because of the questionable tag. But other than that, I'm probably not going to play if he's in. No Aaron Gordon, no Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr.'s rebounding rate is down from last year. He's only averaging 5 right now. So I think that has a little bit to do with Aaron Gordon being fully healthy. Definitely take some of those rebounds away from him, and Jokic just being a beast. But I mean, if Jokic is out, you lock and load Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Will Barton. Dallas side, I think going right back to Luka Doncic. After yesterday, I think his ownership percentage right now is a little lower than expected because of the down game that he had. I mean, his second half was great. If he had that second half from to the first half, he would have dropped 70 DKP, and he would have been the chalk of chalks today. So 11K, I still like Luka Doncic. But with a lot of these 8, 9K guys, 7K guys in good spots, he I want to say I want to have a ton of him, like 40%, but I might not get there just because I like a lot of these 8, 9K guys. But like him, I'm not going to chase Kleber today. I think if his ownership skyrockets, I don't want to chase the 6th block. I can get different. Maybe you can go pivot back to Powell, who had the bad game. Powell's only center only, so it's probably not a good idea. I want to fade Kleber at his increased ownership after the huge game last night.
12 and 10, 6 blocks. Kleber, man, buried me. I forfeited him and played Powell. Big mistake, right?
Yeah, me too.
So really quick, guys, about Jokic. So this is the first night of a back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
The next game is at Minnesota, and then they play a series, 2 games at Memphis, Monday and Wednesday. Do you rest?
I was sick.
Yeah, exactly. I was sit on the first game, so I'm not here. I'm not the coach. I'm not Malone, right? But just logic would dictate. You got to have some type of theory. I would sit him personally, but I don't know.
I mean, yeah, logically that would be probably the move here. I wouldn't argue with that. Chronic, what do you know with this game? I guess now we'll tinker with the idea that Jokic was out, knowing that probably the more likely outcome here is we don't have definitive news before lock, and maybe this would be where the late swappers get rewarded. But playing with the idea that, like, if you had to say, what would you say, 70% chance he doesn't play, 30% chance he does, and if that is the case, what do you do with the Nuggets here? Would you feel comfortable with Barton, Porter, AG00 in a lineup costing you what, 16, 17,000 on DK? I mean, that's a full team stack for.
Yeah, and this is where I'm struggling, right? Because I don't remember the last time Jokic missed a game. So especially with the full team, like what?
I remember Murray's still out too, right?
Yes.
Who?
He's going to be out for a while.
Yeah. So like, what historical reference do we have to go here other than speculation, right? Whoever, like, if you're telling me whoever slots in for him at center, are you going to play him? Are you going to play somewhere Jeff Green? Probably not. Are you going to play Michael Green? Probably not.
I'll pass on that. I think you lock in Michael Porter Jr. You lock in Michael Porter Jr.
The usage. I was assuming that it'd be a Michael Porter Jr. game at 6'5", no?
Hey, Michael Porter Jr. and Will Barton, I would have 100% if Jokic says. No questions asked. Will Barton, I think, essentially plays the Jamal Murray role. I think Michael Porter Jr. will probably lead this team in shots, but no Jokic. Those two are a lock, and probably just swap in Aaron Gordon and Monte Morris. It's just like with no Jokic, and like I said, already no Murray, it's just like it has to go somewhere. And I think Barton and Michael Porter Jr. are the key too, and the other guys you can kind of rotate in and out.
I see them turning into like a pickup ball type thing. Like I mean, your offense is broken at that point, right? So
it's a whole new offense. Yeah.
There's the PrizePicks train, boys. But yeah, I think the Aaron Gordon, MPJ, Will Barton triangle would be the logical thing. And I think if we, like, right now, if Jokic out was dropped, I definitely think people just start with basically a 3-man stack of the Nuggets. So if you are multi-entering it would probably be the wise move, the sharp move, to have some of that in the back of your pocket. And then if you're 3-man stacking a team, it's a cheap enough 3-man stack where the logical run back here, if you want to get a little NFL with it, would be Luka. He's 11K on DK, 10-7 on Fanduel. I want 60 plus at this price point, and then unlike last night, he has a little bit more stress and responsibility to be the top guy versus Kevin Durant's on the slate, Paul George is on the slate, a couple other studs with high upside potential. You mentioned Sabonis, you mentioned J-Val, so he essentially has to be a top 2 scorer to make the most sense. But is Doncic your favorite run back? Or I know you're skittish on Maxi Kleber, but I'm gonna be honest with you. 3.3K for a center. I'd rather punt a center than punt a big. And Kleber's, if he comes off the bench again like he did yesterday, him and Brunson, I think they thrive. I was a little bit more skittish on playing Kleber if he was in the mix with Dwight Powell, with DFS. But if the plan is like last night, have Brunson and Kleber off the bench, I don't mind that little handcuff. I don't play Kleber for real points anyway. He can be a problem. All of his shots were from behind the arc, 8 threes, hit half of them. But the rebounds and the hustle stats are there. And even, dating back to last year, the blocks have been there. 6 blocks is anomalaic, but this is one of those, if he only gave me half of what he did last night situations, wouldn't you just take it at 3,300?
Mm-hmm. So does that mean that you're completely off Powell? Powell's washed now?
It's a revenge game. Nah,
Peggy sued the Powell. That's a big game.
So here's another caveat. Last night, I don't know that this would be something that you introduced tonight. I don't know what Jason Kidd's plan was, but Boban Marjanovic was full out yesterday, right? Not that I expect him to play minutes or many minutes. Anyway, maybe he would get some run if Jokic was in, and we've seen that play out. I think with the Clippers. But maybe the reason, or maybe reasoning behind Kleber playing like backup center is because you didn't have as much depth at center as you wanted to. Maybe they shake it up, but I what's not broke, don't fix it, right? I like Kleber, I like Brunson together. I think combined they're too cheap. So even if you wanted to fade Doncic in that 3-man Nuggets stack, you could run back Brunson and Kleber. That feels a little too point chasey, but I think Brunson's underpriced for potential 6-man of the year role here, and then Kleber is too cheap in the absence of Kristaps Porzingis. Normally Kleber in years past gets to like a mid 4K, high 4K area. And I think we have to remember that's not the case today. And he has always been a guy with some stock potential. So I'm in on Kleber. I was encouraged yesterday by the minutes and the production. I think you could 3v2 these guys without Doncic and just kind of spin the wheel elsewhere on the studs, but I'm fine on Doncic, and I'm most curious to see how the field reacts, right? You touch the stove, you got burned, you're not gonna touch it again the next night when you got to a KD or something like that, and maybe Luka hits one of the more obvious triple doubles in the absence of Porzingis. Chat, you guys let me know what you're thinking on that. Jack says it seems like there's not a phenomenal value play. I think Kleber could fill that role. But yeah, I get what you're saying. If Holmes can stay on the floor, he can go for 7x. Yep. Don't sleep on Aaron Gordon either with no Jokic. That's cheap. Yeah, I think all three of them could coexist. Creasy says Barton has a 37% usage rate and limited sample size with no Jokic. Gordon has 26 MPJ. So yeah, 3 guys over 24% is ridiculous. Anomalaic, that I made the word. I coined the phrase, bro. I've been using it for years. I'm pretty sure it's going to become a word if it's not already. Lorenzo says, I love Maxi today. Anyway, you guys heard the PrizePicks train. So, choo-choo. Let's get him out here. Let's get him in here. Let's do the plug here. I believe that's my subway at the door. PrizePicks.com, one of the partners of the channel. They help us keep the lights on here. So if you guys have never tried PrizePicks, you want to try it, I recommend them highly. We grind it every day in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. If you guys have not tried it, it's basically prop bets meets DFS, meets a little taste of the parlay. You get minimum 2 pick tickets. You can get up to 5 pick tickets. And then you don't have to worry about shopping lines or anything like that. I don't know why the DoorDash guy is still knocking. You just bet against the projection, bet against the prop, and go from there. So if you're already doing the daily research on the slate like we're doing now, and maybe guys are priced out of being able to realistically obtain in your lineups, or you identified bad or good matchups and you still want a little bit of action on them, but you don't think they're going to be that viable for DFS, it's a great way to diversify your daily spend and get a little bit more bang for your buck. And then, more so, my favorite thing is there is no stress on sweating the pick other than the pick itself, right? You don't have to scroll through thousands of lineups. You don't have to go against geniuses with 150 lineups. You just figure out what you need. You watch the game. It's a little bit more fun to sweat one-on-one. So check it out. If you use promo code GUNDACKER when you sign up, they will double your first deposit up to $100 today. And every Friday afternoon, they actually have a happy hour for 3 hours where the min bet is only $1. So really fun promos that they do. They also have a Discord. Chronic, how fun and how tilting these can be. But when it hits, and it's fun. Every day we're trying to find some of the sharper picks here. Have you looked at PrizePicks yet today?
Now, I haven't looked at it today. I haven't opened in my tab, but I haven't really looked at it to have a pick. But really quick betting advice, guys, go with flex play. Because I've been doing the power plays that you have to get four right, or you have to basically hit the whole parlay to get it right, but it gives you like a 5x or a 10x multiplier. And getting 3 out of the 4 is the most heartbreaking thing in the world. And that's happened to me like the last 4 days. So I was almost rich.
Almost. If you guys are members at rundfs.com, we have a good companion tab in the spreadsheet. If you look at the player props tab, what I've done is based on my algorithm, I've spit out players, my fantasy point projection, their fantasy scoring is the same that Fanduel uses and Yahoo uses. It's the official NBA scoring. My real point projections, rebounds, assists, all that good stuff. So if you can find some significant discrepancies between my projections and their projections, check it out. Fantasy point, betting against the fantasy points is one of my favorite ways to bet. I've used that for baseball as well. But yeah, we've been finding some sharp edges here. But yeah, like you said, be responsible with it. Use the flex play. Also, we've got over 150 of the realest OGs on DFS YouTube hanging out with us, man. I appreciate that. That's love. I think when it's all said and done, we'll probably have our highest viewership on today's stream than we've had in the last year on the channel. So shout out to you guys for making that happen. But we only have 47 likes. So we have almost 110 more viewers than likes. I would love to get to 70 plus, but man, I got high. Let's go.
To 100, chat. Get to 100. 100 likes today. Let's see that big triple digit number.
Let's go home. I love the alert for whenever somebody puts a super chat. My boy Randy says, I signed up for PrizePicks last night. Promo code Gundacker. First pick tonight, Fox over 1.5 threes and Altuve over 1.5 total bases. You know your promo dollars get used first. Yes, the site credit gets used first, and then yeah, it's all cheddar from there. So first of all, thank you for the super chat. That's love. And then yeah, listen to Randy. He did it. He's a tried and tested person using a promo code. Where was I at? I was doing something. Anyway, also chat, get those likes up. Rundfs.com. We've added the partnership with Fantasy Cruncher is live. So if you guys do jump on one of the memberships, you want access to the spreadsheets, my projections, and the pre-locked voice chats to rundfs.com VIP Discord. That is so much fun every day. Even though it gets crazy, you throw Ed showing up with the grenade yesterday. LeBron. You want to trigger Raj and get the barbershop going? That you bring up LeBron, you bring up Kobe, you bring up up Michael Jordan. But anyway, as of yesterday, the partnership is live. You guys can figure it out, right? Whatever pass you want, you get a voucher applied towards a Fantasy Cruncher subscription, and they do stack up. So if you get a couple week passes, you don't use it, you'll have 5, 10, 15, 20, so on and so forth. So check that out. Let's get back to the action here. We only got a couple games left, and I'm gonna try and get us out of here within 20 minutes. So let's put a little pep in our step. 2 games left on the docket. First game I want to talk about, the Portland Trailblazers hosting the Los Angeles Clippers. Project starting 5 for the Clippers: Reggie Cush, Reggie Jackson, Eric Bledsoe, Paul George, Nick Batum, and Ivica Zubac taking on video game Dame, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Norman Powell, maybe questionable. We'll see. Nas Little would probably fill in if he didn't. Robert Covington and Yusuf Nurkic, a 223 total. A 3-point spread in favor of the home team, Portland Trailblazers. We have already seen these two teams meet in this young season, right? 2 games ago. Yeah, 116-86, the Luke Kennard game. You'll never forget where you were for the Luke Kennard game on the showdowns. At least I won't. So let's talk about it. If this game stays competitive, right? A 3-point spread here. Paul George, 10.1K on FanDuel, 10K on DraftKings. He has been the usage guy, and even reading between the tea leaves, the per minute production. If the game stays competitive, you get to 35 minutes of Paul George, you'll likely get 50 plus fantasy points here. I think I can make a stronger case, or in my personal lean, I'm leaning a little bit towards more like the Kevin Durant side, but I won't be without Paul George tonight. And then I've also really grown privy to Eric Bledsoe exposure this season. 5,400 on FanDuel, 5,700 on DraftKings. A little bit of do it all to start his season. I'm looking for the north side of 30 fantasy points. The last two games, 27 minutes, 22 minutes, wasn't really needed. The Cavs with a little bit of a stunner, but the more competitive games like Golden State and Memphis, the assists were there, the real points were there, and I think some of the hustle stats, rebounds, steals, whatnot will fall into him. Into his stat line. So if the game stays competitive, you can give me Bledsoe. And then Damian Lillard, he was over 40% owned in some of my contests on FanDuel last night. Reason being, he's 8,400 on FanDuel. That is almost an all-time low. He's actually cheaper than CJ McCollum on FanDuel, and I think his potential to pay off this salary point, we don't need the 50s and 60s of yesteryear. We just need north side of 40 fantasy points. So on a FanDuel set of eyes, 20-plus shot attempts for Damian Lillard, I'm a buyer in that. The double-double with assists happened yesterday. In the last game, not yesterday. I like Lillard's FanDuel price quite a bit. Chronic, I'll throw it to you first. Do you expect a repeat of the Luke Kennard blowout? And if not, what are you liking from this game, and how bullish are you? Like, we all love our late night hammers, but are we leaning at anything over 30% in this game in 20 lineups?
Man, that game was crazy because Portland didn't even have a pulse the whole game. Paul George almost got there with 0 rebounds, 16 points, and 8 steals. That was like the fakest game ever, man. You can't really project that to happen again. It's just you roll the dice, you hit snake eyes once, so you're gonna hit snake eyes again, maybe not. So with that being said, we know what Paul George has been doing without Kawhi Leonard. They've been pricing him up because of that. Now he is 10K flat. On the other side of the ball, who's checking him? Norman Powell, bum. Barbara Covington, bum. Nasir Little, bum. So at some point he gets back to that production that he was going. Is he my favorite play? No. Am I going to tell you to play him? No. He should be in your pool though. So I think he may be the only person I have interest in this game. I'm looking through it quick at the bench guys. Not really. Maybe Nas Little at 4,100. I think he could be a pivot to. I think people Bruce Brown supposed to be chalk at 3,800 or something like that. 300 more. Maybe some Nas Little. To get off that chalk, because I think the chance of the Bruce Brown busting is going to be extremely high, even at sub 4K. So maybe that you can go bargain bin, dumpster diving. I'm trying to say for some value.
Yeah, with Norman Powell out, Nas Little would probably, or if Norman Powell's out, Nas Little has been the guy to pick up those minutes there. Has shown somewhat of a point per minute propensity, but he's not somebody I would be at all confident in. Raj, what are you taking away from this game in short, fastly?
So, I think Paul George is obviously intriguing. 10K price tag is high, but again, with no Kawhi Leonard, he has it. I think I'd probably just fade Paul George because the other studs on the slate. This team, they're playing a little more balanced than expected. I thought Paul George would get, he should be averaging more than 50, 60 fantasy points a game with literally everyone on this team hurt with no Kawhi.
I would say
no Obama, no Morris.
That's a little unfair because some of these games have just been laughers. I think with Paul George, I want the competitive game. The last game wasn't competitive on the wrong side. The game before wasn't competitive on the right side. But the two games that were competitive, Golden State, Memphis, 58-66. So it feels like in a competitive game, yeah, you're going to need Paul George, and he's going to have that responsibility to perform. So the steals have been really, really large, to fluff up his fantasy floor, but that's Paul George basketball. But I just wanted to interrupt you saying that I think his viability is based on your belief that this game is competitive. Is it competitive to you?
I think this game is going to be competitive. You mentioned Damian Lillard's price. There's a reason why it's down. I think him and James Harden with the new rules aren't getting to the line as much. I know he's shooting really bad from three, he's having a push from three, but I think he's being a little exposed too for the same thing James Harden is. So I think the fair price tag for him, if you want to play him, that's fine. But even then, we talked about so many guys in that price tag. On DK, he's 9.3. Sabonis is 9.4. I think I like J-Val over Lillard straight up, 1v1. Even Durant, 700 or 7. Durant is, quick 1 second. Even Durant, I'll pay the extra to get to Durant. So Lillard at that price tag, I get it, the cheap price tag, but this is not Lillard of last year. This is a Lillard who's not getting to the line as much because of the new rules and the poor shooting three.
Yeah, I can agree with the DK point. I think 8,400 on FanDuel is still a little dangerous.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at on that. Chat, anything on this game before we move on to the next game? Powell's a bum. You just said Little's a bum, then said you're gonna play him. I don't know if Chronic said that, but I mean he is a bum. If you're gonna, I think he was saying if you're choosing between.
It's not what I said. I said Powell's a bum, Covington's a bum, and I said Nazir Little can't check him. That's what I said.
Yeah, that's why Paul George would be a great play because those guys are bums on defense.
Right. Yeah, no. Calling somebody a bum on defense and calling them a DFS bum is totally different. DFS bums are like
he's actually a real life bum. He's homeless. Portland, it's crazy. They said, you know what? Let's make a wish.
Shout out Delonte West.
Oh my God.
We tried to help him.
Bro, why was that so quick for you? Like, why was that instant? Chat, hit that thumbs up, man. We're at 60 plus. Could we get to 80? That would be all times levels.
Let's do it,
the
Chad.
litness
Hit
levels.
That like for Harrison Barnes, baby. Harrison Barnes better than Fox. Hit the like button. Show some love for my boy Harrison Barnes.
If we get to 100 likes, we'll make
Fox goes to 70 today, man.
100 likes and we'll make a group lineup as long as it happens within the next 5 minutes. Main event tonight, Cavs at the Lakers. Project starting five for the Cavs: Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, Larry Markin, and Evan Mobley. Jared Allen taking on Russell Westbrook, Malik Monk, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and DeAndre Jordan. AD looks like he's going to play. Wayne Ellington seems like he's active but unlikely to play. I think that's what I saw in the LeBron James, a true game time decision. And look out for Rajon Rondo's availability as well. So with LBJ being out the last couple of games, I don't know if they're holding back some pertinent information, but I guess, you know, missing 2 games and still being questionable makes me feel like I should brace myself for him to be out again. I guess we could start toying with the ideas. If we knew right now that LeBron was out, would we be locking in Russell Westbrook sub 10K on both sides against a Cavs team that we do like targeting with point guards? And then Anthony Davis is 9,500 on FanDuel. Would we like targeting him for potential 50+ fantasy point potential? Wayne Ellington, like I said, is questionable, but he is available, unlikely to play. He's just out of the rotation. And then Rajon Rondo has a Q tag on him, dealing with right ankle soreness. He got hurt in that last game. Frank Vogel told the media after shoot around that he is expected to suit up Friday night. We'll see what that means in terms of playability. So going forward, this game has a 221.5 total, 7.5 point spread in favor of the Lakers. The Cavs have been the upset teams, man. From a betting side here, chat, what do you guys think about if LeBron was out, taking Cavs plus 7.5, knowing that their body of work so far has been stunning? Teams like the Nuggets, let me pop up in this game. The Clippers, yeah, they've beat a couple of surprising teams, and not just like fluke buzzer beaters either. So 7.5, if LeBron did get rolled out, might be something that you have up on one of those side screens and then try and sweat, because the Lakers have certainly not looked great with or without LeBron. But even without LeBron, took extra innings against the Spurs and then looked outclassed against the freaking Thunder. So maybe Cavs plus 7.5 becomes a really good bet.
They were up by like 30 and blew the game. That was the crazy. And the crazy part about it is when stuff like that happens, you would think, oh, it's because Westbrook and AD got sat for a while. They did not. They were out there just getting smoked. So the Lakers are so
bad luck.
That torture chamber, baby. All right, so I guess how do you think is the fairest way to discuss this here? We don't want to play every range of outcome, but is it should we just expect LeBron to be out and assume that, and assuming that, Chronic, what do you do with Russell Westbrook? Even with 10 turnovers, Westbrook was an incredible fantasy play with that quad double. Even on FanDuel, he was a great play, and he was a lot cheaper than 20 shot attempts, 14 rebounds, 10 turnovers, but almost 60 fantasy points. You know that the usage can be there. We know that he's been a 13K player when he is in a position like this, and if LeBron was out again, we would probably peg that same usage, that same floor to ceiling ratio here. If you knew right now that LeBron James is out, is Russell Westbrook 50+% owned late night hammer in your 20 lineups?
Hi. So Russ Westbrook, man, this game is really interesting because you know what? I don't even think it's because of the LeBron. It's the opponent. If you ask me, Cleveland plays so slow, and their defense because they run this three big lineup, 3 7-footers. I watched them destroy the Clippers, and that was hard to watch, man. It really was. Like the game was closer than what it looks like on paper. Now the game was further apart than what it looks like at the scoreboard, and they were smothering PG. They smothered everybody. So I am off AD. That's what I'm gonna say there. I'm not playing AD. That could be a mistake. I don't think it's gonna kill me today. But as a Russell Westbrook, I think I mean, the dude's usage is so high. If he's engaged, which he should be, because they need a win. I know somebody said that in the YouTube chat. They need to win this game because they are like 1-4 or something like that. You got to play Russ. You have to. You just have to trust it. They're 2-3. But you gotta play Russ.
Raj, what are you doing with this game?
I think the one guy. I mean, the past couple games, the Lakers have been getting destroyed by centers. You think that would be a strength defensively, but they've just been destroyed. So a guy like Evan Mobley, I think is really interesting. Power forward, center Algebra DK, 6,800. I don't think he's going to get any ownership at all. So I think that's a guy under 3%, 5% owned that can take it to the top of a tournament, of a large field tournament. So I don't hate that play. When it comes to the Lakers, I mean, I think it's if LeBron sits, you go right back to Westbrook, AD, pairing them up together. I think AD kind of, I mean, after that game where they got embarrassed, I think both guys come out, show the world that they're legit. Both guys can get you 50, 60 plus here in this spot. So, gotta like both of them. If LeBron plays, I think I'd probably just fade this entire Lakers team if we get that news.
Yeah, I agree. Really quick, Gun. Really quick before you step in, just really quick. Raj has said that they've been getting smoked by centers. So play AD. I disagree. I would play Jared Allen. I'll play Jared Allen at
Over Evan
6,300
Mobley. Yeah.
over Evan Mobley. I would. Last game was bad, just because of the blowout feature. But he's been going off. He's the type of traditional center that's going to roast Dwight Howard and this bum they play called DeAndre Jordan. I think that Evan Mobley has a range of opportunities where he has to check AD and he gets in foul trouble. He's a young guy. He's going to try to block some shots. I'm not all for the narratives, but I think he has a tougher time out there on defense on AD versus Jared Allen's going to be patrolling the paint, basically just boxing out DeAndre Jordan's bum ass. So, yeah, that's just really quick.
Yeah, so I mean, you mentioned the center struggles here. You would think with Dwight Howard, DeAndre Jordan, Anthony Davis, they wouldn't struggle. And in the last season or so, they've been one of the toughest interior defenses in all of basketball. Maybe there's some positive regression, some progression coming, but through the short sample size so far, they have just a 19.4% offensive rebound rate, which is bottom 7 in the league, and then just a 74.8 defensive rebound rate, which is bottom 5 in the league. You feel like those numbers cannot sustain with the names that they have in that front court, but for the time being, if there's a chance for that to continue trend-wise, it's going to go against one of the largest lineups in basketball, the Cavs, and it's so easy to dismiss the Cavs as a talent, as a team because of last couple of years, but so far so good. They have a uniquely big starting lineup, and then off the bench we've already seen some big rebound games out of Kevin Love. Kevin Love is averaging over 7 rebounds a game so far, and yeah, the rebound battle could be on the Cavs side. So I'm still leaning more to liking this. If we got the LeBron out news, that Cavs plus 7.5 seems real fun. If LeBron is in, that might help stabilize those numbers a little bit more. If LeBron, like if you're chilling halfway through the slate, right, and you guys have some Paul George exposure, and an hour before that game tips off, it sounds like LeBron's going to be in. Would you guys try to abandon ship on any of your Westbrook exposure and maybe switch that to a Paul George, or would you maybe get one of the lowest owned LeBron James exposures you could ask for, knowing the sense of urgency for the Lakers to win this game? Could LeBron James get us a low on triple double? Looking back what we saw on opening night. Raj, I'll throw that to you. Like, what would you do with late swap in mind if LeBron was rolled in halfway through the slate? I feel like I would try and half my Westbrook exposure to half Westbrook, half LeBron. But what say you?
I mean, I think with this slate, with all these kind of major guys possibly being out, like if Jokic gets ruled out, with the Indiana, with Brogdon news, I just don't see myself to get into any Lakers if LeBron plays. I'm just happy fading. Like I said, it's Cleveland. They're a slow team. It's just not. There's just so many other spots.
The thought process is there's a very unlikely chance that we know LeBron's status before 7 p.m. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you assume he's out because he's been out the last 2 games, you're gonna want some Westbrook. So
yeah,
you're not gonna wait and not make lineups. So like right now, the proper thing to do is probably make some lineups, including Westbrook. But I'm saying if he got ruled in later on, what's your strategy late swap wise to compensate for that news? Wise. Like, are you going to swap?
If I have Westbrook, if I have Westbrook, yeah, I'm going to be forced to playing.
I think if you have Westbrook in the right spot, you can get to some Paul George if that's something that behooved you. Or, like I said, you could chop that in half and maybe get a little LeBron as well. Because I don't necessarily think Westbrook's going to be a horrendous play day to day at sub 10K, but this pace is going to be down and maybe the scoring down. But it is over 220 total. So I'm
hold on. Remember how bad Westbrook was when LeBron played those 2 games, though. I think that the reason why Westbrook's price has been going up and that he's performing is because of that. Like that. I mean, obviously,
absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So from my understanding, it's hard. It's hard, right? I think that I wouldn't let it ride. Now that I'm thinking about it, but how would you? I mean, are we going to know that?
No, my expectation.
Last slate that they played, they told us before lock. It was before.
Right, they told us early in the day, like we knew by now.
Right, exactly. So I think that no, we didn't. It was during the pre-lock chat. I remember.
But also remember that's an OKC game. That start time is not 10:30 p.m. That was like 8 p.m. Right? It is an hour and a half, maybe 2 hour difference. So the time, the window is a little bit bigger.
Right.
Yeah. But that's kind of like some of the game theory strategy that I'm talking about. Is what do we do late swap wise? I think what I would probably do is move that to Paul George where I could. But if I can get LeBron James at sub 5% owned, hey, why not get a little shot depending on what I needed from those lineups. But a little something to keep in the back of the mind. Same thing with like Jokic. Like you could see a ladder. Like if you had some Jokic and then he got ruled out, and now you're late swapping that 10+K in your util spot too, like Paul George or something like that, or a Westbrook, something like that, based on what news is out there at the time. Then chat, fire away, quick questions, comments, concerns. I would like to get you guys out of here in a couple of minutes because we do have the RunDFS.com pre-lock voice chat. Getting into the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. Looks a little something like this. If you guys want to jump in it, go to RunDFS.com, get yourself a premium membership, get the link to the Discord, and then go to Discord and click NBA chat. And there's going to be a bunch of us chopping up shop, trying to find prop bets, trying to find news, and discussing some lineup strategy, stuff like that. Dion with the sub. Yo, Dion, I'm offended that you just now subbed to me. We've been knowing each other how long now? Okay. My son calls you uncle, bro. Like, that's ridiculous. No, I'm just kidding. James Harden over 20.5 points. He finally got to get it going today. All right, that's the prop bet from Dion. And that's it, chat. Get us to as many likes as possible. We're at 80 likes. That's probably the week high. If we can get to 100, if I look back later and we get to 100, that'd be great. Tomorrow, I will not be live on this channel. I will be on the Osmo. There's an early show tomorrow with me and Emax, so we'll take a look at it. It won't be live before lock, but if you guys are looking for some of my spins tomorrow, check out the Osmo channel earlier in the day. I want to say around 1, maybe noon, something like that. And then all the rest of the content this weekend is going to be in the Discord. Maybe I will have Darian drop a showdown video for Sunday for NFL, but the next live stream as of now is next Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Lots of action to go out there to get tonight. Chronic, any hot takes to close this out with, and then Raj follow it up.
Put me on the spot, eh? Hot take. Well, my last one was J Val outscored Jokic, and that worked out. So back to the well, baby. J Val will outscore Kevin Durant. Let's do it.
Ooh, I don't hate it. Raj, what do you got? Harrison
Barnes? Got yes, sir. My boy Harrison Barnes. Well, my boy Harrison Barnes will outscore Lillard and Fox.
All right. I'll let that be. I'll let that be a hot take. F it. I guess for me, I don't really have a hot take. I do like that J-Val infatuation. I kind of like some of the mid-tier stuff I can go with. But I'll say this. Rashawn Holmes, 50 fantasy points on DK at sub 6K, bro. Go get you some of that. Go get you some of that. Boys, I'll catch up with you in like a minute or two in the Discord. I appreciate you guys. We got to do the three-headed monster more, right?
Yeah, that's a good time. This is a good time.
Yeah.
This is the prime time right here.
And I can get the graphics right here. All right, boys, I'll catch y'all in a little bit. Chat, we're done, man. I appreciate you guys. We are grinding these streams day by day. The viewership going up, man. You guys are crushing it, killing it. I cannot thank you guys enough for the consistent love that you guys show. The just being here before when we go live. A lot of you guys are already in chat waiting. If you guys want to help us, if you're lurking, you want to help me reach some goals. I have a goal of 6K subscribers before January 1st. We're not that far from it. I think I need like 600 or 400. I don't know. I think it might be something like that. But I need a little help. So if you guys are lurking, you thought that, hey, these guys seem like cool dudes, I'll subscribe. I'll see what kind of content they put out. I do put out daily live streams for NBA. And then if I can get some more free time, would love to put up some more DFS related content. But your sub is greatly appreciated. So hit that sub button. I'll be back on this channel Monday afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. And then, like I said, tomorrow, if you want some NBA spins, I'll be chopping it up with EMAC on the Osmo channel. If you follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Gundacker, you guys can DM me or you'll stay up to date. I'll tweet out all the links that you need, man. You guys are the best. Lorenza, Randy, Aunt Maurice, Great Filibuster, Justin Jennings, my love, made it happen. Good luck to all you guys tonight. I want to see them screenshots on Twitter. I love you guys. Appreciate you making part of my day, be part of your day. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.